Hi, hello. I just realized I forgot to put my mic up before this happened, and I am rushing to get this through. It is just me, as you can tell right now, but I am going to be talking about the Vandal women's basketball team today. They've had at least 8 games they've played 8 games so far this year, had one exhibition against LCSC in which they won, and now they are 7 games in to the regular season and have a pretty good start. As always, Tubbs of the Club is brought to you by Hughes River Expedition and Snake River Stampede Whiskey, and I will tell you more about them later. First, I am going to be talking about some of the 2 returners from first. I'm going to kind of introduce you guys to the roster just because I know it is so very new this year with the amount of turnover, with where the coaching cycle was, where things were with the coaching hire, but we'll get to a little bit about that later. Whoops, that should not be that way. Producing on the fly, as well as always. Blanking right now. First, introduce the coaching staff. Head coach Arthur Moreira was hired. I can't remember the exact date, but was officially announced July or August of this year. I know I should have known this as being the super fan. On the staff are Drew Muscatel, Lindsay Foster, Denise Rosario, Derek Sage, and a graduate assistant of Hannah Roberts. The 2 returners this year are Ashlyn Wallace and Sarah Brands. They were the 2 that came over from last season. New to the team this year are Olivia Nelson, Hope Hassman. Olivia Nelson came from Central Missouri University as a graduate student. She has 1 year. She's going to be your 1 year in Moscow. Next up, and who is new, is Hope Hassman. Played her out of Maple Valley, Washington. Came by way of Cal State Fullerton. Played her freshman year at Cal State Fullerton. Next is freshman Ella Uriarty. She was signed from previous coaching staff, but still stayed on with the team even after the changes. Next is Rosie Schweitzer. She comes to Moscow from Pacific and is one year with us. Next is Kelby Washington. I know I'm doing Kelby Washington from a redshirt sophomore came from Oklahoma. Guard, sorry, I forgot to mention this. Kelby's a guard, Rosie is a forward, Ella is a guard, Hope is a guard, and Olivia Nelson is a guard. Sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. I am a little tired after Thanksgiving stuff. Next is center Victoria Carvalho from Tarleton State, a center. She is a senior. Next new to the team is Anya Bukvich, a junior by way of Louisiana Tech. Another forward is Caitlin Deaver, junior from Utah Tech. Another guard we have is Mackenzie Curtis, guard from Dredger, junior from New Mexico. And next one, she was signed. I believe she returns she came to Moscow at December/January of 2024. She came in, could have played, I believe, but they decided to redshirt her. Ana Beatriz Passos, she is a guard by way of freshman from Brazil. Another freshman that they got is Ana Pinheiro, guard from Portugal. And another guard from D2 level forward grad student from Augustana University is Jennifer Adland. Wow. Shows how much producing on the fly I am doing right now. Now, kind of just more of my thoughts on the season so far. They have started pretty well. They've started out 5-2 with 5-2. They did lose their. Oops, I should probably bring up the schedule so you guys can see that. Yes, they have they started off the season with an exhibition win against El Sluice Clark State College. Started off with 2 pretty close losses to what I'm going to consider power conference opponents in BYU and Washington State. And then followed it up with 5 straight wins versus more common opponents to Idaho's level. That being Southern Utah, UC Riverside, and Cal Poly. No disrespect to Montana Tech and Walla Walla University, but those are more in the exhibition type games, but they are still showing a lot in them. The team, if you haven't watched this team so far this year, they are a complete 180 from last year. They are more compared to, so let me just back up again. Last year's team was very slow you down, try and beat you with defense. This year it is, as I was told while sitting courtside this year, I was told to be ready for very much a running gun team, and it is that I very much believe that they are going to push this. They are going to push they are going to push the opponents. They are not going to try and slow things down. They're going to try, if they see an open player go into the hoop, they are going to push it and go for it immediately. And this, talking with another Patreon member at patreon.com/Tubs the Club on our little Only Tubs Discord. Marten, Arnzen, and I were kind of talking, and this team kind of, like, we both kind of agreed that it reminded us of the John Newley teams that made the NCAA tournament. The one not so much live and die by the 3, but more of the just high-paced offense that just goes, and not the high-paced offense that goes. Yeah, I'm blanking on what I was going to talk about next now. They pretty much they haven't had a bad loss yet. That I think is pretty good. They haven't had anything. They had some stretches where they'd go down by 20 or 15, but they've always been able to pull it back within, like, go make it as close as tie it up to against. I know they tied it up late with BYU, but sadly BYU pulled away in the end. They, I think, brought it within 1 or 2. I can't remember if they were leading at Washington State, but they did pull within. They did make it. They were really close with Wazoo. And then I know I'm going to lump the Montana Tech and Walla Walla games together. They both kind of had a little slow starts, having watched it, but I mean, after the first quarter, after kind of getting those kind of gelling together, they were able to kind of pull away and make more just kind of a showcase of what this team can be and what this team has been so far, which is just they are going to shoot the ball and they are going to take any shot they can. If they see someone open, they will pass it to them. I know in this past Montana Tech, at the Montana Tech game, I saw a lot more drive into the hoop and then pass it out to the wide open 3, which I saw a lot of that with Anya Bukvich had a lot of that. She was lights out in the Montana Tech game. Yeah, it's a lot of these games against, like, say, the D1 opponents were Idaho kind of more or less led wire to wire, if I remember right. Didn't really have any. Say, I'm done talking about these last kind of more common opponents. I should kind of lump it with just Southern Utah, UC Riverside, and Cal Poly. More or less, Idaho led from start to finish. Maybe kind of let up a little bit in some points, but they always seem to control everything. Some names to remember. So before I keep going, I'm going to do an ad read because I am producing on the fly, and I am going to need to take a quick little break from speaking so I don't stumble anymore. If you are looking for an all-inclusive week-long vacation, don't look past your backyard. Hughes River Expedition has you covered. Hughes River Expedition is Vandal open operated since 1976 and are ready to take you on a vacation of a lifetime. Enjoy a multi-trip down the Middle Fork of the Salmon River, the main Salmon River of No Return, the Salmon River Canyons, or the Selway. Check out special trips like one to see the Perseid meteor shower, camp on pristine beaches, run amazing whitewater, hike scenic trails, spot wildlife, soak in beautiful natural hot springs, and fish some of the most remote stretches of river in the country. You just bring your clothes and let HRE handle the rest. Grab a paddle, catch dinner, and ride the bull all throughout the Gem State. Call now at 406-540-4450 or check them out at hughesriver.com. That's a little later. Kind of jumping around a little bit again. This team is this team only had 2 returning starters coming into that return that production from last season, and so far this year, this team has a lot of the key contributors are not the Ashland or the Sarah. Ashland has only played in the exhibition game so far this year, and so sadly hasn't been able to contribute that much. But the team is low. The team has depth this year. They have depth at every single position. Jumping around, it's not just your 5-6 players. It's 5-6 players that 6-7 players they play each game. It's now there's like at least three forwards that can usually play. They can rotate in and out, so at least everybody's getting a break. So it's not just when one gets gassed. It's like the kind of things can fall apart if one has to come out. The main rotations usually has been Rosie. She is probably the best, one of the better forwards I've seen at Idaho play in quite a while. Kind of rotating in there is also Vittoria. She is another tall forward that comes in and just grabs rebounds, sort of like, not like Hope, but kind of Hope from last year, but they all can do something. This team is just, it is very, this team has depth and kind of jumping around. This does have kind of spurting around right now. They have the 2 starters so far, like usually the first starting lineup usually this so far has been Jennifer Adland has been starting. Jennifer and Rosie have been starting along with Olivia, Hope, and Anya has been usually the starting 5. 3 guards, 2 forwards, and they usually try to rotate them in rotate them pretty frequently so they all stay fresh. And if one gets cold quite early on, they have somebody else that can come in and shoot. Can try and get them out, get that person out of the funk to where they'll come back in and be fine. Like, I guess I should also mention with this team is they are very realistically, I could see everybody that's listed on the roster right now play when everybody's healthy. Now I know obviously some names that haven't played this year that some Vandal fans might be asking about. Like I mentioned earlier, Ashland hasn't played since the exhibition, and another name that Vandals might recognize hasn't played so far is Kelby. I don't want to hypothesize on anything, so all I know is that I've seen is those 2 haven't played this season, but they are all on the team, and they have been at every game so far this year. Some names to kind of keep an eye out for this year so far, I would say is oh gosh, it's hard to pick one or 2 names this year. One for me is one name one person that's kind of stood out for me so far this year is Olivia Nelson, and picked her just based off of like she's been a great facilitator with the basketball, great finding that open person, dishing out, and can shoot like anybody else. Another name to kind of keep out for this year is going to be Anya Bukovic. She is a great shooter that they've had on this team. Don't want to say much like a Michaela Friends or Taylor Pierce, but in the Montana Tech game, she was shooting lights out, and I think made 3 or 4 threes in a row. It was great to see. And another name that I can't remember what I think it was. Another name to kind of also mention is guard Hope Hassman. Man, I believe she got Big West freshman. We're gonna figure this out together because I don't want to guess this at all. She was on Big West all freshman team. And another great, I want to say facilitator, but another great just all-around ball player on offense, defense, can shoot the three. And yeah, another kind of want to talk about from last year is just how much, when I say this is kind of a 180 from last year's team, I know preface it by saying it's 7 games compared to 31. So there's going to be, obviously things can change, but I think kind of we've got a good enough point where you can kind of get a good difference between last year compared to this so far this season. Last year on offense, Idaho averaged just under 60 points per game, and on defense averaged about 50. Only averaged 57, just a little over 57 points per game. And they are already a third of the way to their win-loss record from third of the way to their win total from last year. Sorry about that. So far this year, in 7 games, Idaho is averaging 69.7 points per game. And they're playing way better defense this year and only giving up 56 points per game. I know it's only about a point difference lower this year, but man, the defense they're playing this year they are going for rebounds. They are not afraid to dive and go for it to get the jump ball. They're not afraid to just go and get anything, go and grab anything. This year, if they miss a shot, they are always in there to try and go get the rebound, to try and get the ball and make sure they score a point before running back and playing great, outstanding defense. Now, I think we're going to have our special guest, Bryan, come in and
So if you want to make your Vandal game day, look, you can't go wrong with reaching for a bottle of Snake River Stampede. You have 2 options. Either their entry-level Snake River Stampede, or if you want to celebrate a big Vandal win, you can reach up and grab that Snake River Stampede 1915 Small Batch Edition. Either option is a double barrel finish, first fill bourbon for both, and then your Stampede finishes in Oloroso sherry casks. Your 1915, in addition to being aged a couple extra years, it's finished in ex-Canadian rye whiskey casks. You can't go wrong either way. Grab yourself a bottle of Snake River.
Thanks, Bryan, for joining us for that quick 30-minute video there. Just speaking as a fan right now, I know I was kind of disappointed with how the previous staff kind of left a little bad taste in my mouth. But man, Arthur, I know, but like with what Arthur and his coaching staff have done so far this year, they've made me forget all about how that happened this year. I know, sorry about that. I know, with how Marten and I'm not talking about myself there. Marten and I talked about this game. This team seems faster and more just physical and bigger overall compared to previous teams, and they are a lot of fun to watch. and how I've seen, like how I kind of walked out of the arena on Wednesday afternoon, evening, the team, the fans seemed very happy, as I say, very happy, as they all seem, there's an excitement about this team that I haven't felt in a long time. I almost want to say kind of the same excitement I had after the 2015-2016 women's basketball season after they went to the NCAA tournament, because that was a whole lot of fun. I know walking out, like you saw me on X, or formerly known as Twitter, a lot of I heard some fans saying this team is a lot of fun to watch, and even in the 2 losses that they had this year so far, this team has been a lot of fun to watch, and I hope you guys do get to come out and watch this team play, or if you can't, watch them on ESPN Plus, because you're missing out on a lot of fun. It's not just me trying to promote the team or anything. I really well and truly believe this team can win the Big Sky this year. I know they got to go through Montana State as usual, who's doing pretty good. Northern Arizona just beat Big 12 opponent U of A, University of Arizona, so that's a big time win for the Big Sky there. But this team, like Arthur and Drew, and Arthur, Drew, Lindsay, Denise, Derek, and they're all showing that this team can play with anybody. And I hope you guys get a chance to come out and watch them at ICCU this sometime this season, or coming next Saturday, watch them play in Mem Gym, because I think they're gonna. It's a lot of fun to watch. Plus, they're on a 5-game win streak now. So I hope you guys can come out and watch them. And I know I'm repeating myself, but man, this team is fun to watch. I hope you guys can get a chance, to come out and watch them this year. I'll probably do another one kind of closer to another kind of, I don't say bigger, a little more kind of, okay, this is out of conference recap, kind of see how this team's at right now, and then kind of talk about how this team plays out with conference games starting up pretty soon. But I hope you guys can come out and watch this team sometime this year. And with that, I'll play out the beer song. Go Vandals.
Go Vandals.